Hey everybody, how's it going? Charlie here with Plugin Alley, and today I want to go over Room Sounds, the Blasting Room. If you're not familiar with the Blasting Room, it's a studio out in Colorado that's famous for working with bands like NoFX, The Descendants, Rise Against, A Day to Remember. The list just goes on and on of bands who have recorded here. I'd be shocked if you didn't have a favorite record or band that had. And what Room Sound did is they made a sampler in that room, and it comes with 3 kicks, 5 snares, 7 toms, 4 crashes, 2 hi-hats, 2 rides, a splash, and a china. It also comes with a full mixer within the plugin, and that mixer has 9 different effects that you can throw on to mix right here within the plugin. There's 4 different reverb sends that you can activate. There's 4 different aux sends that you can use. There's full bleed throughout the entire kit, whether you want it on or off, and you can adjust that right here with some easy, quick bleed controls. Also, if you need to know how to route the reverb or the aux sends to use them, make sure to check out our other videos on how to open this as a multi-out. The channel info is really useful to be able to know exactly what the channel you're looking at was recorded with in case you're familiar with that equipment. The grooves work really well. They're already a little bit pre-humanized and they sound really great. And you just double click and drag and drop like most samplers. We'll make a little hi-hat thing, little fill, and then we'll end on a crash beat. All right, and we'll take a listen. And if you want to adjust the kit piece tuning, right over here is a really easy way to do it. You can just select, say, the snare drum. And right there is all the adjustment you're going to need for the tuning, and you can select any piece of the kit to do that. The kit piece sustain is a really useful tool. Say you're listening to the overheads and you think the snare is just a little bit, you want it gated from the overheads a little more. You don't want the transient gone. You just think that there's too much length to the snare and the overheads. Well, using the kit piece sustain, we can just drag this back, and as you can hear, it really creates a cutoff for the envelope of the snare, and that'll work on any of the instruments on the kit, and that'll work for close, room mics, overheads, all the above. The MIDI gain settings are really, really useful. So MIDI dynamics at 0% means all incoming MIDI on whatever cymbal or shell you have selected is going to be coming in with 0 dynamics. So it's coming in at 127. If you have it at 100%, it's going to come in with the full dynamics that it was programmed with. So this is very useful for being able to make large adjustments to all the MIDI that's coming into the blasting room without having to open the MIDI editor at all. And to that point, the MIDI gain also helps because when you increase this by 10, it increases all the incoming hits by a velocity of 10 on a per hit basis. So if a kick comes in at 100, it's now going to be jacked up to 110. If the next kick comes in at 105, it'll now be 115. So really useful options right there for not having to open your MIDI editor to adjust your MIDI. The full mic bleed option, like I mentioned, just puts bleed into all your close mics. If you want to take a listen to that, we'll turn it on. We'll check the snare, and you'll be able to hear the hi-hats and kick in that mic. Oh, let's turn the overheads off. And if you want to adjust the incoming bleed to those tracks, you can go to the mixer, select the snare, and you can just bring the hats down if you don't want them in that track. Really simple and easy way to do that. And then the humanize button is really, really helpful because it actually does a great job of adding velocity and positional information to the incoming MIDI based on how many hits the drummer is hitting in a time span. So if the drummer's hitting a lot of hits really quickly, the humanize activates more and it adds more positional and velocity information to make it sound like a drummer's actually playing that. And if it's more of a 4 to the floor, big and open beat, it affects it less because the drummer's going to be able to be hitting more in the center and more consistently with the less frequency of hits. So that's a great way to humanize your drums because it's not actually random. It's actually playing to the way that your drummer is playing, which is just a really, really helpful tool. And then the key map is very easy to use. You just select the notes that you want to adjust to, but it also has mapping presets for Easy Drummer, Superior, Addictive, Steven Slate 4. It's just very helpful in case someone sends you MIDI from a different sampler that you then have to bring over to the blasting room. Instead of figuring out which hit is what, you can just select the mapping preset and boom, you're ready to go. So that's the Blasting Room, guys. It's a really helpful sampler that has great organic raw sounds, and it's going to be making programmed drums sound more human.